And today's question is probably the hardest one that I have tackled so far. And it is the literature purpose question. And how is this different from the poetry purpose question that we've had? It's not really different in terms of the type. It's just a lot more difficult in terms of just the text is a lot harder. Okay. So this is, I guess you could call it the advanced literature purpose. Okay. So as always, guys, don't read through the text first. Always jump right to the question. All of you guys know this at this point, right? So which choice best describes the function of the underlined sentence in the text as a whole? Okay, so we need to find out the function. That's really the same thing as purpose, really. So I need to figure out what does this sentence do within this paragraph. And here, I would also invite you guys, as always, to kind of pause the screen, whatever, and try the question for yourself. Okay, you pause it, right? I don't know why I keep pausing myself when I do that, but I do. Okay, so this is not an easy text. And I made this based on a real question like I do with all of them, right? Because you'll read this and you'll go, this is the main problem. I have no idea what that just said, or I understood what was in there, but I feel like there was no point in that. Because honestly speaking, I wrote this, there really isn't that much meaningful content being delivered here in terms of plot, okay? So when I'm looking at this blurb, this little underlined portion, I want to figure out the function. There are a number of things we can do to read this. Number one, do not, I didn't repeat, do not get bogged down by the vocabulary. My last video was on vocab, actually. There are certain advanced vocab words for the vocab question section. This is not the vocab question section. If you don't know the words, forget about it, okay? We'll just continue through. So let's read through this and get through the skill of eliminating the words you don't know. Just do the best we can with the words that are normal. She had no great love for the outdoors. Rather, she had an, okay, if you don't know cute, take that out. She had an appreciation for whatever setting happened to be a pertinent, you don't know that, take that out, partner for her feelings and musings. I'm going to pause myself here, okay? So, if I'm asked about function or purpose of an underlined part, the actual sentence doesn't really matter. I know that sounds crazy, right? But the actual sentence doesn't really matter. What matters? The sentence before. You guys all knew that, right, from my other videos? So the sentence right before, what did we just say? She doesn't really love the great outdoors, but she appreciates settings that are partners for her feelings and musings. Okay, that is weird language because this is literature. This is skill number 2, guys. So number 1, ignore the vocab. Number 2, translate the literature into regular language. So what do we have here? The setting is a partner for her feelings. Do you talk like that? I mean, that's cool, I guess, right? But a lot of people wouldn't talk like that. So the settings are a partner for her feelings. What does that mean? The settings match her feelings and musings, okay? So whatever's around her, they match what's inside her head. So I'm going to do this. So, okay, so the outside, whatever's outside, right? They match what's inside her head. Okay? And I know this looks like it's taking a little bit longer than the usual quick and dirty. Why? This is the hardest question I've seen on the digital SAT so far, okay? So with that in mind, you can, if you want, read through the rest. The trees with their foliage, both brilliant and falling, seems an outward manifestation of her internal scenery, and she could also sense the mixture of the blossoming and wilting within herself. A lot of difficult words there, right? Let's skip all of that, okay? I have outward, I have internal, I have sense, and I have within herself, okay? So those things come out. What is that? The things around her match what's inside of her head, okay? So that's my answer, guys. Let's look at the answer choices and also have you guys practice your skill eliminating terrible answers. Okay, answer choice A. Why is that terrible, guys? Because it is an extreme word, right? Agonizing decision. Is this person in agony? You may see like, well, Jay, I don't really know what's going on in this passage. Maybe she is. Whenever you're putting in maybe, cross it out, okay? That's out. And then answer choice B. Actually, let's go through the other ones. Answer choice D. It established a claim that the next sentence clarifies. Claim. Not lit. And not as in like, oh, this is not lit. That's not literature, okay? Where would that come up? Yeah, science, right? So that's out. Okay, it's not literature. Okay, B and C are the good answers. And C is the very common trap answer. I actually thought about making an argument for C as well, but then I read what College Board wants from us, and that's what we need to do. Paints a vivid scene for the reader through sensory details. It's really, really close. You could argue that there are sensory details here. You could argue that this is a vivid scene. So on the current SAT, on the old SAT, on the paper SAT, whatever you call it, this would be the answer. This would work, okay? However, it's the new digital SAT, so they ramped it up a little bit on this question. So what do they do? If it's, again, the function, where do we have to look? Does the sentence matter? No, it doesn't. What matters? The sentence beforehand. What do we have? The partner with her feelings and musings, that stuff, okay? So the answer here is B. My key word here is actually not related to content at all. Stated in the previous sentence. That's what matters, okay, guys? So the function of a sentence in literature, right? We look at the sentence before, and this one refers to the previous sentence. And let's look at the other part of the wording. It exemplifies a tendency. What does that mean? It's an example. Okay. So now, with the interpretation we've done, does that serve as an example? Sentence 2 said, she likes settings that match her feelings. Next sentence. In this setting, she sees inward and outward. She thinks within herself. Okay, so that works. That's an example. Yeah. So, yeah, do look through this video again. This is the only time I'm really making this recommendation. This is the hardest question that's on the SAT. And normally I try to give you the quick and easy way. This may not be the easy way, but it's still the quickest way and it's also the best way. Okay? So when I get something like this, when it's literature and you read it and you're like, I have no idea what the point of that was. Number one, you're doing it wrong because you should have read the question first, right? So it's a function question, and I know I should only be looking at the sentence before the underlined section. Then what else you do? You take out the vocabulary and you translate the literary language into regular language, okay? And you should also be watching all my other videos, not just to self-promote, because these topics and themes, let me give you guys a background. I've already covered this in the other videos in terms of when I have a literature passage, right? When I have a literature passage, and one of the answer choices is the character is really thoughtful, reflective, remembering, aware, sensing, all of those which say the character notices things around himself or herself, that's the answer. Why? Because every single piece of evidence or information comes from the character, that is the narrator. So if you watch my previous videos on the literature passage, you could also apply it to here. It'd be easier. Yeah. Okay, so that's today's quick and dirty on the advanced literary function passage. If you guys want more questions, just focusing on questions that are this difficult, because I feel like you guys are also getting better, right? Then I'll also get on that right away. So let me know, and I'll get on it, and we'll study together with who? With me, you, with Sexy J every day. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.